Alright, Victorum Gaming fans and Hail Caesar fans, we are back with another in our review series here. Today we're going to take a look at the Illyrians, which basically covers 4th through 1st centuries BC. And it's a pretty interesting list. So you have a mainly infantry list, but with a couple of cavalry options as well. So cavalry can be up to 10% of the army there. And then infantry is 75% of the army. So you could, again, go all infantry there. So, and again, skirmishers don't count. And then of your infantry score, basically 3/4 or more of it has to be war bands of one kind or another. So if you went 100% infantry, basically 100% of the non-skirmisher infantry would have to be war bands. But yeah. And then bow-armed skirmishers could be up to 25% of skirmishers, so an interesting little restriction there. And then basically divisions are normal, but the skirmisher percentage per division is up from a little bit from the normal armies there. So so mixed divisions can contain half as many skirmishers as non-skirmishers, and if the general's guard is fielded, they must form part of the general's division. And then a division that consists entirely of skirmishers cannot include more than half the total number of skirmishers in the army. So a couple things to keep in mind there as you figure out a way to work in skirmishers for your list. So you start off with cavalry here, and we got basically two options for the whole list. So medium cavalry, very respectable, but just also bog standard here. So 8/5 on the close combat there, morale save of 5, no special rules or anything like that. But you also only get 1 unit period of that. So overall, just worth taking just to get that little extra punch. The rest of your cavalry, if you do take cavalry, or depending on the size of the army too, would have to be this light cavalry as small units, and they just have javelins. So again, filling that light harassing role there, and again, it's only 17 points for the unit. Next up, we start getting into the war bands. We got medium infantry war bands armed with javelins or spears, and very respectable here. So even though they're medium infantry, you actually have that clash of 7 instead of 6, which we have typically seen. And no other special rules for 23 points a pop there, so not bad overall. Then we have several different upgrade paths that we could go to as well. So we could make the medium infantry tough fighters, so basically half of our total war bands like that. And that bumps the clash value up to 8, which is pretty nasty for, again, just a medium infantry unit. And again, tough fighters, and they're eager, and only for 25 points a unit there. That's not bad at all. We could go tough fighters and frenzied. So stats don't change, but we add those special rules for another 5 there. And then if we wanted to basically reduce medium infantry warband as armed slaves, so basically kind of cannon fodder, but still kind of respectable stats because they're normal size units. Clash of 6, sustain of 5, and they're just levies at that point, but -5 for that off of the base price. So brings it in under that, so 18 points basically to do that. So lots of options there, and just some really fairly heavy hitting medium infantry basically for you guys. You know, when we get to Rome, you know, we'll see the legions are basically 7/7. So you have that extra little punch in the clash, like that initial fighting phase. And if you get those charges off, yeah, even better, especially if you have some of those special rules going for you as well. But being able to put, again, a good chunk of sort of cheap levy medium infantry out is pretty solid as well. The General's Guard unit, basically the sort of better stats profile that we had there, so the 8/6. These guys are tough fighters and gives you stubborn as well. So you only get the 1 unit. You might as well field it just to have that extra sort of elite-like warband for you here. And then we move into light infantry. So we have javelins and shields, 5s there. So again, for what the unit is, that's respectable. Solid, very solid short range ability, so 20 points per there. And again, their thing, you know, just more support and harassing there. We have archers as well, so, and we can have a reduction to make them small units, but basically that gives you that long range firepower for the list. And again, keeping in mind the restrictions up above, but also basically 20 points per there, and small units will obviously be cheaper. Moving on, we have skirmisher access here, and again, keep in mind all those restrictions up above, but basically we can go the javelin route for strictly short-range harassing, slings, and also some more bow options. And then you can also pay to make the bow or sling armed ones, basically up to half of each. Marksman, so being able to get marksman sort of on tap here with multiple units potentially is overall pretty cool. And again, very respectable points here. The typical 11 to 12 or even 13 point range here. So all pretty good. And, as we get, even though this is basically the end of the list here, there's actually, depending on what you come up with for your list or collection, there's actually a respectable amount of long range firepower in here. So overall, it's a fairly well-rounded list. Again, cavalry element is not going to be that significant, but you still have access to a little bit of it. And then just a really solid core of the army with just lots of warbands. Again, durability is probably going to be an issue with the army. The best morale save you got is 5 up, because really you're just fielding medium infantry that are just punching above their weight a little bit. But you're still throwing overall a bucket of dice here. So hopefully the dice are with you and you can kind of rack up the damage against your enemies there. And then last but not least, again, leadership 8 across the board for your general and commander. And overall, that should be pretty solid for you. So, and then again, very competent, some light infantry elements with range, but then also lots of just very solid skirmishers. So overall, again, just a good combined force and really fun to collect, and a good opponent for some of those troops in that historical time period. So again, 4th through 1st centuries BC. And, would be fun to stack these guys up against things like various flavors of Greek, Persian, even some Roman versions. So definitely something to keep in mind. So, but overall, something fun to collect and something you don't see necessarily every day too. So would pay to do some research and get some nice color schemes and stuff like that. So hope you guys enjoyed our little review here. Again, this is the Illyrians, and stay tuned for more Hail Caesar content. Drop us a like and a subscribe if you could, and we'll see you in the next one.